Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Other Side of Addiction. I am your host, Al Richards, and today we're here to speak with our guest, Ronnie Hernandez. Ronnie, thank you so much for being here with us. Ronnie and I met at Recovery Day, and he came over to our booth, and we were talking about T-shirts and things like that, and started talking about the podcast, and Ronnie started sharing a little bit of his story with me. So today's topic, what we're going to talk about, is his meth addiction was way out of control. And gosh, Ronnie, reading your bio and some of the stuff that's happened to you in your life. When I met you, even at Recovery Day, you know, I would have not ever thought that something like this was a part of your life. And this is what's so cool about doing this show. And I love to tell people that every Thursday I get to sit down with some of the most incredible, amazing people I've ever surrounded myself with. We were talking right before the show how individuals can be in the darkest of dark and still end up in the lightest of light, right? Oh, yeah. And going over your bio, oh man, brother, you've definitely stepped out of the dark and stepped into the light. Before we get going into it too deep, just let our audience know a little bit more about yourself.
Awesome. My name is Ronnie Hernandez. I'm a Murray, Utah resident. I am originally from Long Beach, California. Came here about 10 years ago, kind of for a vacation. My mom took us out here. And found a new way of life, you know. Moved here permanently. We lived in Park City for a number of years, a couple years. And then I lived in Heber City for a couple years. And now I'm down in Murray. Love Murray.
Wow.
Yeah. So
how old were you when you guys moved here, when your family brought you here?
Oh, so it was roughly 10 years ago. So I'm 43 now, so about 33 years old. I still didn't, I wasn't here permanently. My mom had a kind of a spiritual awakening. She was about 46 years old. She was in and out of incarceration. Her story is just like mine too.
Wow.
So my mom and dad, you know, it's kind of the vicious cycle that was going on. But yeah, my mom was in custody, and she said, when I get out, we're going to Utah. And I'm like, all right, Mom, whatever. So when she got out, she rented a 16-passenger vehicle, van, and we all piled in there and went up to Park City. We lived in a trailer park in Compton, California. Okay. And Mom got out, and she had the camera crew with her. She actually helped write a book called Going Out by Getting In.
Oh, I got to write that down.
It's the Gogi program. She met an awesome lady named Coach Taylor that had a big impact on our lives. If it wasn't for Coach Taylor, I probably wouldn't be sitting where I'm at today. She's just a life coach that got acquainted with my mom, and they hit it off together and stuff. She was inside the facilities teaching women and stuff like that. So wow. She got an eye for my mom, and they started doing this book together. And my mom was big in the Gogi program, Getting Out by Going In. So yeah, she came with the camera crew, and I was at this little trailer park in Compton, and she says, "Come on, we're going to Utah." So we went to Park City and rented a place up there, and got involved with church and started changing our lives around.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. You know, and I would say pretty much 100% of the guests that we've had on our show who's battled with addiction, whether it's family or being on the other side, where a higher power has been there to take over.
Oh, yeah.
And I am definitely now a huge believer that our higher power, and even for us, like I said, on the other side, steps in. As long as you allow it, you know, you've got to ask for it, and of course you've got to make the first step. Yep. But as long as you do, it's amazing where life will go. And all our guests that have come on said I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my higher power right now. And some, their higher power isn't God. For the majority of them, they are, but there's some that look at a higher power a little bit differently, and it doesn't matter, right? It's still something greater than us. So
some people it's the mountain, some people it's the doorknob, you know. They say the doorknob, whatever. But you got to believe in something, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we can't do it on our own. It's it happens. I've seen it happen with people. Some people could stay in the same environment with all the old friends walking around with drugs and stuff like that, and they still make it work. But that's rare, and that's not me. I couldn't do it like that. So I needed everything to happen the way it did for me to get sobriety and be successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, when you grow up around drugs and addiction, I mean, it's almost probably impossible, right, to not fall in that same type of pattern, because that's all you know, right? You think this is how life is. We had a guy on our show by the name of Diago, and he works for the Other Side Academy downtown. And I wasn't able to be here to interview him because my father was passing away, and they were in Yuma. They went to Yuma every year for the winter, and we had to go down there. And I heard his story, and, well, even like Robert's, who's also with the Other Side Academy. You grow up with the drugs and the alcohol and the partying and the violence and all that, and they said that's how we thought life was. That's just all we knew. You didn't know life was different outside the doors that we grew up in.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
One day, luckily, something changed in them. There was a switch, and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize life could be this way.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of how that works. When I was young, I started experimenting with like marijuana, 11, 12 years old. And then, that's like the gateway. They say it's the gateway. It really is.
Yeah,
You start drinking a little bit, and then you want to take it up a notch, and you get friends or in high school or whatever that are doing cocaine or doing acid was big when I was younger. So we did a lot of acid, PCP, and stuff like that. But I was actually addicted to crack cocaine for a number of years. When I was 14, I experimented with crack cocaine, and boy, that stuff took me on a ride. I mean, I was so strung out and addicted to crack by the time of 15.
Wow.
I was doing robberies. So we would hang out. There was a drug house. There's a dope house on the corner. And we would hang out. Me and a couple buddies of mine would hang out in the park, Kings Park in Long Beach. We'd hang out in the park and kind of had a little hiding spot and wait for the guys to go in there and get the drugs. And when they come out, we'd rob them.
Oh, geez.
Beat them up and take their stuff, right? And it'd just be a little 20 if that's all it took, right? But
yeah.
But sometimes they'd fight back. Sometimes they'd get up, but sometimes they'd fight back. And man, we'd have some serious beatings taking place in front of this drug house. Late at night, it's just kind of our thing. You'd see them come up, and they'd kind of look around because we beat them up before and took their drugs. So they'd kind of look around, make sure we weren't around. They'd go, but we were hiding, and we'd get them again and again and again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I did that. Prior to that, so my growing up, my mom and dad were young. My mom was from a big gang in Long Beach, California, and my dad was from a big gang in Wilmington, California. So there was a place called the Cove Bowl, right? And it's kind of where all the gangsters met up on Friday, Saturday nights, whatever it was. And so my mom and dad met like that. They're from two different cities, two different gangs, but they met up anyways. They had me when they were really young. Mom and dad struggled with drug addiction. They were just young. They couldn't really care for me, right?
Yeah.
Mom was like 15, dad was 16. So my grandma and great-grandparents kind of cared for me for a number of years. Then my aunt and uncle, grandma was dealing with some alcoholism herself. She was kind of the one caring for me at the time. So aunt and uncle stepped in the picture and said, we got to help this kid out. We got to take this kid. I was about 7 years old. So they invited me into their home. They had kids of their own, and these were awesome, awesome folks. They were just the definition of good parents. The hard workers, very structured home. Taught me everything that you should teach a kid. I was in school, but I kind of had the genetics in me to want to do bad things. Right?
Yeah.
So I started meeting these other Mexican, because we're talking white people, American folks that I was raised with, but I start seeing these gangsters at school and stuff, so I'm like, okay, that's what I really want naturally, right?
Yeah.
So So then, I kind of just spiraled. From the age of 11, like I said, I started smoking weed. I started getting in trouble at school. And, by the time of 14, I was ready to hit the streets. So right around 14 years old, I ran away from Kathy and Earl, my aunt and uncle's house, and hit the streets and got introduced to hard drugs. And like I said, we started doing robberies and all this other stuff. So that carried on for decades, That's just the lifestyle. I was homeless out there at 15 years old. Kind of going. So I caught my first jail. I did jail time for the first time when I was 15. I did a strong arm robbery. I went to jail. I did a year in Mendenhall boot camp. It was a military style facility for kids. Of course, they outlawed it now. Now it's against they're too hard on the kids or whatever. Now it wouldn't fly. But I did that. Got out. I learned a lot in there and everything. Got major discipline, stuff like that. But got out and did the same thing, over and over and over again. So,
what do you think it was, Ronnie, that got you just to kind of do the same thing over and over? Was it because of the lifestyle? I mean, and also, I don't know, that, like you said, you saw others on the outside of where you were at, and you're like, man, this is really what I want to do. I mean, is that what kind of kept you in? Because
it was the obsession for the drug. It was the addiction. It was the environment was huge about it. Okay, because you get out of jail and you go back to the same place where all your friends are at and stuff like that. So it only takes an hour or two, not even that, to hook back up with your friends and get going.
Like you never left,
Like you never left. Get going on drugs again. You don't realize you're young. You don't realize time's passing. Responsibility out the door. We're just doing drugs, and once the drugs run out, we got to do whatever we got to do to get them again, right? But I always had a group of friends that I'd run around with and do this crazy stuff with, So that's kind of how that goes. If you get out, this goes to everybody. I say this all the time. How did you do it? People ask, how did you do it? You got to get out of that environment. You have to, and I don't mean move an hour away. I mean move on the other side of the country. Move states away to where you don't know anybody and you start a new life. That's how it's going to work. And then, of course, get a relationship with God.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to work for you. That's how you're going to get sobriety. Any other way is not going to work. It might work for short term, but as far as long term, you got to get the heck out of there.
When you were saying, when you get out, you go back to that same environment that basically puts you in. I had to go make a truck payment to the credit union, and my wife and we go up there, and I go inside the credit union, and I make this payment, and I come out, and my wife's talking to this guy, and my wife smokes, and she's giving him a cigarette, and he's got this white bag, and he's holding stuff, and I'm like, who the heck is this guy? And I go walking up, and my wife goes, hey, this is my husband. And she introduces me to this guy. And I said, hey, how you doing? He goes, I guess I'm doing better than what I was, a couple hours ago. And I'm like, oh, okay. What do you mean by that? And he goes, I just got out of prison. And I'm going, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And I start putting two to two together. All his belongings was in this sack. That's all he flipping had. Yep. And he's like, hey, I want to, tells my wife, thank you for giving me a cigarette. And she goes, well, is there somewhere you're trying to go? And he goes, well, I have an idea of where I want to go. And he says, I definitely know where I don't want to go. And we started talking to this guy. And he got in trouble here in this state, of course, and he knew that if he hit a certain part of town here, he knew it probably wouldn't be long and he'd be right back to where he just got out of. Yep. And he goes, I need to do everything I possibly can to stay away from that area, because he says, I do not want to go back. And I'm looking at this guy, and I can see this guy's sincere. He literally wants to stay away from what he knew. And so my wife, she's like, well, is there somewhere we can take you? And at first I'm thinking, the hell are you doing? This guy just got out of freaking prison. And my own mentality, my old self, that started coming back. And he goes, well, I need to catch a bus, and this is where I'm trying to get to. And my wife, she still hasn't got her license back, so she knows the buses and tracks pretty well.
Okay.
And she goes, I know right where you need to go to get to you where you want to be. And she goes, babe, can we drop him off at the bus stop? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I says, jump in. And he's like, you're serious? And I says, yeah, jump in. We'll take you. And he's even looking at us like, I just got out of prison and you're asking me to jump in your vehicle with you and your wife.
Yeah.
And I know how hard it's been for my wife to even find work because of her past history. And it's been 2.5, 3 years. And I also know the stigma part of things because I was part of that stigma as well. And like I said at the beginning of the show, a lot of the people who we've had on this show, I'm just inspired by these people. I love being around a person like yourself, Ronnie, and listen to your story and see where you're at in life because you're teaching me. And now I'm hoping to take a lot of these teachings and share it on our shows, different shows. And so, wanted to give this guy an opportunity. And we took him a couple blocks down the street and stopped. And my wife says, okay, this is the bus that'll come and get you. And this is where it'll take you. And when you get here, you're probably going to have to get off here and walk a block north or something and get this bus, and it'll take you right where you want to. And that guy was so flippin' grateful for us. And my wife even gave him a couple more smokes, which my wife doesn't like giving up her cigarettes too much, but she will. But yeah, she even gave him a couple more smokes and said, here, I'm sure you're going to need a couple more. But
sometimes that's all it takes, man.
Yeah.
Is somebody to just open their hand, extend their hand to you, When I first came to Utah, I met the most awesome people in this world, and they, just by them loving me, I've never felt love like that. Just by them loving me and the way they talked to me and the way everything had so much to do with my sobriety and how, as far as I've come, had a lot to do with that. So you could have been the reason this guy, didn't go this way and went this way. You just never know.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't really me; it was my wife.
Right.
I give the credit to her. All I did was let the guy jump in the truck and we took him. But my wife is the one that offered, and I believe she offered because she knows, she knows the struggle that it is. And it's still really hard for her. And I've talked about this on other shows before where, and again, I say I'm just as guilty. Okay. So I'm not saying I'm some innocent pup over here because I'm not. Where you drive downtown and you see these people who are homeless, or you'll see someone that's high or drunk on the side of the road. And, the first thing that comes in our head is, why don't you get your act together? Make something of your life, blah, blah, blah. And we have all these thoughts that go through our head. And sometimes we share them with people that we're with. And then you have people like my wife who have busted her butt, and even people like yourself who's busted their butt to do everything they can to change their life, get back on the road and give back to society instead of being a menace to society. And then people going, oh, you got a past.
Yeah.
We don't want anything to do with you. Mm-hmm. So where do you expect them to go? After a certain amount of time, they're going to go right back to where they were before. So what is it, people? What is it that we want, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people aren't capable of making that big jump, you got to detox off drugs. That's major, just that the fear of that is what holds people. Then where are you going to stay? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? Nobody's going to hire you. You don't have clothes. You don't have, there's so much to it. Now, when you get these homeless people downtown, like you talk, my heart goes out to those people because they got mental health going on, challenges and stuff like that. Right? So it's like, okay, they're not on their meds. They need meds. Now you got to get yourself there. There's so much to it as far as getting it. You got to fight hard to get yourself together when you're in heavy drug use going on. Yeah. Now I remember, like the gal you had on that I was watching. You get clean, You do everything you can to get clean. Of course, you're in the same environment. That's what's going to kill you every time. But you get clean. You go through weeks of withdrawal and all this stuff, and you say no, 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 and you're going to get strong and get yourself together and live a good life and stuff like that. And next thing you know, you get a couple weeks clean and you get high again. Over and over and over again. Okay, we go to jail. You go to jail and spend a couple months in jail, and the whole time you're in jail, every single day and night, tell yourself, when I get out, I'm not doing this anymore. First thing you do when you get out is get high again, because you're going back to the same environment, same friends, same people. So that's a vicious cycle. That happens a lot. That happened to me a lot. So I had to come out here to Utah and find a new way of living.
So basically, really, that's the reason why you said your mom moved here because she was wanting to change her life, right? And you come back here, and was that your thought the whole time, Ronnie, when you got here? It's like, you know what? I don't want this life anymore, and here I am. Really, I got a new beginning, right? You're in a new state. No one here except probably your mom and some other family members.
So, at that time, I had a little bit of a drug business going on, okay? So I was like, I need to go back to Long Beach to continue with my little business. I gotta make money, and ultimately I want to get high, So when my mom first came out here, she even offered to keep the kids, because I had a couple kids in the house. So that, it's like ding, light switch went off. Okay, now I could really go hard, and I could do so many more things without the kids being here, So my drug addiction took off, man. When she first came here and she stayed in Park City, I went back to Long Beach and continued, and even got progressive. My drug addiction, I started selling more, and I started being involved with bigger players and stuff like that. And so I got worse and worse as my mom came here to Utah. She gave me a bigger opportunity to do worse things. So that went on for a long time,
Wow. So basically, you said you got really addicted with the crack cocaine.
I was addicted to crack. That went on for 4 or 5 years, but then I found the big brother to crack, and that's crystal meth.
Yeah.
Once I got really addicted to crystal meth, I never stopped. I kept doing it forever.
That was a whole different baby there, huh?
Yeah, whole different baby. So, did that. In and out of jail. Just, I'd do these series of burglaries, theft, credit card fraud, all this different stuff going on. I'd do that and finally get caught. I just, thank goodness I got caught, now I could get it together, and I've been wanting to stop, and get out and just do the same thing over and over and over again. So again, it's just, it was ridiculous.
Isn't it crazy how our brains work and our minds work? Because I remember the first time my wife did time in jail for drinking, and I think she was there for 3 days, 4 days, and she got home and she's like, oh, hell no, I am never, ever going to do this again. Yeah. And I think it was within 24 hours she was freaking hammered again, and I had to kick her back out again, call the cops again, and, it went from like 3 to 4 days, then it was up to 15 days, and then it was 40 days. And I remember one time, I don't remember how many times it was, but there was one time where they ended up putting her in C block. And she called me up, and usually took me a few days before I would take one of her calls, because I'd be so upset with her. It's like, I ain't talking to you. I'm done. I finally answered the phone one day, and she calls me, and she's just bawling. And I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, I'm going to get my ass kicked in here, and I got these gang girls. They're really after me, and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, you put yourself there. You kept telling yourself you ain't going back, and here you are, your third or fourth time, and you're back. Yeah. First of all, I don't understand why you're in C block, because apparently C block is where a lot of the
super maximum security
bad people go. Yeah. And to hear her even saying the same stuff that you were just saying, that you tell yourself while you were in there, I'm done, I'm not going to go here anymore. And then you turn around and you find yourself. I mean, there was times when she got out of jail. I mean, within hours, she was already freaking hitting the liquor again. And it's like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Sometimes on the way home.
I just don't understand. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes right when you get in the car on the way home, it's like you never gave yourself a chance.
Yeah.
To,
And for her, she was just masking her pain. She felt bad that she let me down. And then she felt bad because she let herself down. And then she felt bad for whatever else it was. So as soon as she got out, to mask all that pain she was going through, it's like, I'm just going to go ahead and get wasted again because then I can forget about it, which then would escalate because it would just cause more more issues.
Yeah.
And
your tolerance gets higher, and you just next thing you know, you're just drinking away because of all these things, right?
Yeah.
Every reason in the world to do it,
Yeah.
That's kind of how that works. Yeah, I'm the perfect definition of just complete self-destruction. I went on and on. I smoked it for a long time, and then I started shooting it up, and that's a whole other world too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because when you smoke it, you just, of course, it's huge addiction and stuff, but when you shoot it up, it's even bigger. It's a bigger beast there, So I did that, and I'm super responsible for getting people addicted to the drug with me, because I want everybody to be just as messed up as I am, So I would introduce the drug to different women and different friends, and not only the drug but the needle,
Yeah.
And then so I did a lot of that. I would absolutely just rip females apart, man. I would, they'd come around and they'd just be sort of messed up, and when I was done with them, they were completely messed up. Crazy in the head. Now they're shooting up, kind of deal, and that was a big part of it. So I lived in Compton, California. So Long Beach is kind of where I sold the drugs and did the drugs at. I kind of grew up or did most of my crime and drug addiction in the east side of Long Beach. Then I got introduced to the north side of Long Beach, where it's kind of smaller, but the people, it's a whole different vibe, right? But that's where as far as the drug business kind of escalated. I had some cousins that were big players in the drug game, so I had like unlimited amount of meth to sell. So that was a beast in itself. I would get large amounts of meth, sell it, have money. Now I got money to do whatever. Now I'm getting bigger. Now I'm getting more known.
Yeah.
I'm going to jail. I'm meeting more people. I'm starting to get big. My name's starting to get big in this drug business, So there's murders going on and stuff like that. So I'm coming back and forth to Utah because now my family's here.
Yeah.
I'm coming back, and now I meet somebody in Utah that does the meth, sells the meth. So now I'm bringing him meth, and it's just like now I'm creating what I got going on. Now I'm bringing the Long Beach to Utah,
Yeah.
and that I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So that went on for a couple years. So I ended up getting arrested on some fraud, drug charges and stuff, and I did some time in jail. And during that time, my wife, her and I were split up for a number of years because she was in her addiction too. It was crazy. Sometimes me, my mom, my dad, wife, brothers, everybody's in jail at the same time.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So and then
Oh my
and then
gosh.
other times we'd just miss each other. She'd go in, I'd come out. With my mom, the same thing. Sometimes me and my mom were both in at the same time, and so that went on. So my wife, I was in Utah visiting with my mom. I'd only stay for a week at a time. That's all I could handle.
Yeah.
I'd sleep like a bear, get up, and just want to do drugs, So I'd take back off to Long Beach, and but my wife was in prison, right? And I remember one time specifically, she called my mom. We were at a school function for my son, and she called, Colette call, haven't talked to her in been a long time. And got on the phone with her, and she says, "Hey, when I get out, I'm going to Utah, and I'm gonna get my life together." We say that all the time. Her and I say that over and over again. Never would do it though, right? So she got out, came to Utah with my mom, got the kids back, got a place, got a job, got a car, and I'm in jail now. See how that works?
Oh, yeah.
I just made so I'm in jail, and I'm calling her now, and talking to her, and she's like, "Hey, you should totally, I got a place. You should come out here. There's plenty of work up here." And she kept telling me about the church. My mom would do the same thing. So my mom invited me to church. And I remember my first time going to a sacrament meeting. I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah, this ain't for me,
no,
right?
this is not my thing. 15 minutes into the church service, I went out to the car and sat in the car with the door open. And I was just nodding my head, and here comes my mom. She says, "What in the heck is your problem?" I go, Mom, I can't do that. That's too much,
Yeah.
But and then the second time I went, I started to meet the people and feel the love. And it was love I never felt before, There's two people that I met that had a big part of my life of being stopping the crap and getting with the program. Bob and Gail McMullen, they're missionaries. They're like the MLS or the service missionaries of that ward in Park City, right? And they were just the nicest, best people you could ever imagine in life. And they loved me and hugged me, and just the way I just remember telling myself, I love these people so much, and I fell in love with these people. They started inviting me to their house. We started reading scripture together, reading the Book of Mormon together, and they started introducing me to this church and what they're about and what we believe in and all this stuff, right? And I'm just like, gosh, those McMullins are the best people ever. So when I went to jail again, right? And Anna, my wife, was telling me, the McMullins, they're asking for you. They have their arms open for when you get home and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh man, so I'm thinking about the McMullins the whole time. So my wife had a baptism. She got baptized. It was cool. My mom got baptized. My son got baptized. Then my wife got baptized. When my wife got baptized, I went to the baptism. I had a chance to go to the baptism. And Sister McMullen, Gail McMullen, did the baptism. And I remember she was up there, and she was conducting the service, right? And I was just like, oh my gosh, I love this lady. She's the best. She's like an angel. She's my angel. And so that's where I really started to catch on to this church thing, the gospel. So I almost started to have that spiritual awakening around that time. But of course I kept going back. Drug addiction's strong, dude.
Oh yeah.
It's strong. It's stronger than whatever I'm feeling. It's 10 times stronger than that. So I got to go back, and I got to get ate up and beat up again. So I did. I kept going back, getting beat up. Now I'm wanted for a series of violent crimes because I'm doing, when you're on meth, you do the stupidest stuff any human being could possibly do. It wasn't Ronnie doing it though. It was the drug had complete control of me, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing this stupid, crazy stuff, different women, whatever it takes over here, not caring what you're doing. I'm doing credit card fraud in my name. It's just like I'm building this trail. Detectives are calling my phone, reaching out to me. Hey, Ronnie, you got to come back, man. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Come back. I just need to talk to you. I got this call a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Detective Mendoza, Long Beach Police Department. I'm with violent crimes. I'd like to speak with you. I'm like, about what? Well, let's talk in person. I know that trick, right? You're going to cuff me, right, when I get there.
Yeah, yep.
I kept running and running and running. So I had these built-in stash spots in my car, right? So you open the hood, you do this, you do that, and then my drugs and my gun or whatever in this area, right? The cops aren't going to find it. So I'm like, when am I going to get caught? When am I going to finally get caught? Because I want to go to jail. I want to get clean. I want to get to Utah with the McMullins, I want to get a new life. I can't stand this anymore. I can't do it. I'm like crazy at this point, because I had unlimited amount of drugs to do.
Yeah.
It's unlimited. Most people have to go out, gather a couple bucks together, get 20, 30, 40 bucks, go buy a little bit of meth and do it. I have unlimited. I could do as much. So I'm a monster at this time. I'm doing crimes you wouldn't, but I'm getting away with all this stuff, and I always kind of got a incognito car with the stash spot, and it's like, how am I going to get caught like this, And so that went on for a long time, but finally got caught. Did some jail time. Right now, this time I go to jail. This particular time, it was different. because now I've been introduced to Utah. I've been introduced to the gospel. And I want that. I crave that. And I know deep down inside, this might be what it takes for me to knock the crap off, to stop this drug addiction.
Not jail, but this other thing that I'm starting to feel a little bit more.
It's going to be the combo that's going to make it work, right?
Okay.
It's going to be jail, and it's going to be, it's not going to be just a kick in the butt, just a little bit of jail time and a few cells here and there. No, I'm going to have to get pushed through this jail system, and I'm going to have to catch the blues in here in order for me to really, really get it, right? So, again, I read a little bit of the Book of Mormon. I'm starting to kind of know God a little bit now, right? Mm-hmm. I'm starting to really see the importance of Jesus Christ and stuff like that, but not quite yet because I'm still clouded from the drugs. So yeah, so I get out, right? When they finally arrested me, the DA, I remember I went into the courtroom. And it was me, it was a district attorney, there was a prosecutor, there was maybe my public defender, the defense, there was a judge, and there was a clerk in there. It was just us. When I went in, I was like, "Whoa, this is weird." And all of them looked at me when I came in, we've been trying to get this stupid guy, here. Yeah. Finally, here he is. So the public defender kind of rolled her chair back, and she had a stack of paperwork, She goes, "You know what this is?" And I go. And she said, "This is all you. This is the complaints, people, violent stuff going on, and drug charges, and Detective Mendoza, this guy that kept trying to get me, right?" So it all kind of came into play that day with that day in court. But fast forward a little bit, I get out, and it took me about 3 or 4 days. I relapsed right when I got out too. Took me about 3 or 4 days to get to Utah. Finally, I get to Utah on a Greyhound. You ever took a Greyhound from California to Utah?
Oh no.
No bueno. No.
That doesn't work.
They do a layover in Vegas, right?
Oh
man, it's like a 12-hour layover or something like that
no
in Vegas.
Kidding.
Yeah, and I was just the drugs just coming down on drugs real hard and stuff like that. Come to Utah, and kind of started my journey from there. Started realizing I need to stay here permanently. I need to stop going back to Long Beach. But I was on parole out of Long Beach, right? Probation parole. So I had to go back and report once a month. Every time I go back,
Right back into it again.
I was immediately high. Because, okay, this is my reason.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going back. I'm going to get high. That's the first thing I'm going to do is get high. And hopefully my family won't know, because now I'm back. Me and my wife are trying to work things out, We got the kids. We have a little place. And we're trying to work things out right now. But her biggest fear is Ronnie going back to Long Beach and getting high, And that's exactly what I do. That went on every month, once a month.
Cow.
And it was just, oh, man, I'd come back beat. Completely beat. Long Beach beat my butt. And... man, that went on for a while. So I finally got my interstate compact, they call it. The parole said, "Hey, you go ahead, live over there. We're gonna transfer you to Utah supervision, probation, whatever." And so that happened. So I didn't have a reason to go back and forth to Long Beach now. So again, now it's just a little bit here, a little bit there. Now it's just the dream is gonna happen, right? Yeah. Like with the McMullins, they didn't realize at the time. They probably didn't realize. They're forming a masterpiece here. This guy is going to be special. This guy is going to be strong, and he's going to stand up and he's going to do all the good things that we want him to do. And they probably didn't know that, But I just remember thinking to myself, I want to be like these people. I want to make these people happy. I wasn't able to make my grandparents happy, my family happy, because they died, and I was an idiot the whole time.
Yeah, they never got to see the new Ronnie.
Yeah, but these people, I love them with everything I got, and I want to prove to them, and I want to show them I want to be like them. And they were LDS missionaries, And so, they had their badges. I'd hug them and we'd take pictures together. And I'm serious, they're like two angels. If I showed you a picture, you just tell, even by a picture, you'd be able to tell these people are the best. So I had this big old hernia in my stomach, right? I know I had a second one. This is the first one. Okay. This sucker was like a monster in me. It was like an alien or something, right? It was huge. And if me and you'd be talking right now and you had it, I'd be seeing it with my peripheral vision the whole time we're talking. It was huge, right?
Holy cow.
So Bob McMullen goes, "What do you got going on there?" then I go, oh, you know what? I've had this thing for a long time, and I've never taken care of it. And he says, why not? And I go, I don't have the money or insurance, and I'm scared, to do it. I've been on these stimulant drugs for so long. I just have this vision of me being put under and never wake up, stop my heart or whatever. And he says, oh man, he goes, we got to take care of that. And he says, I'll tell you what, I'll help you with both of those things. He says, I'll take care of the financial part, and I'll go in there with you, and I'll hold your hand while we go in there together, and we'll do it together. So he did. And I'm telling you right now, this is probably the biggest part of me doing good, right?
Okay.
Catching the dream, taking advantage of it. Bob McMullen, we went into the hospital the day of surgery. We go in, and he held me by my hand, and he talked to me and told me about himself. And it was the best love I've ever felt in my life. And he made me feel safe. And he says, we're going to go in there. We're going to take care of this. You're going to be fine. And when you're done, you come stay at our house, and we'll make sure that you, and I remember him talking to me. He's on the side of me all the way into the operating room, and was telling me about his life and telling me about his wife and some stuff he's done like that. And I'm just crying, just listening to him and stuff. I'm like, I love this man with everything I got. When I went to sleep, he was there. And when I woke up, he was holding me still.
He was still right there.
Well, he came back in the operating room. He was there when I woke up. And I remember when I opened my eyes, he was reading my tattoos. Oh. He's never seen nothing like this in his life, right?
Yeah.
He's reading these crazy devil tattoos I got and stuff. And he's like, let's see, it says pain is just part of the game. Okay. And I remember opening my eyes and just telling myself, I love this man, and I'll never let him down. I'm going to do everything I can to do the right thing, to make him happy, and to let him know that I won't be a failure,
Yeah.
So that had a lot to do with my everything, with my recovery, with my success, with my membership in the church. Bob and Gail McMullen have a lot to do with me. My happiness, my joy that I feel today is because of those awesome people.
That is really cool. And I want to hang on this and start the second half of the show of
Perfect.
Now where the journey
Yep.
is starting to take you because of the love that you have for these two individuals.
Yep.
So guys, stay with us. We're going to be right back to hear the second part of Ronnie's story.
Have you ever been in a car accident? Do you know what to do after being in a car accident? Are the insurance companies going to take care of you? Hi, I'm attorney Rick Heaton with the Law Office of Bobby Udall. I will help you through the process and answer all of these questions. I give every single client my cell phone so they can talk to me whenever they need. Let me deal with the insurance company so you can focus on getting better from your injuries. Call me at 385-330-0226. Again, my cell phone number, 385-330-0226. Don't call the insurance company first. Call attorney Rick Heaton at 385-330-0226.
Hello, my friends. This is Brad Neufeld, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Resilience Talk Network. You can listen to my show, Resilience, every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. On my show, we will be discussing what it takes for you to overcome the day-to-day challenges that all of us face in life, as well as some of the devastating ones that may lead us to feelings of hopelessness and despair. It's my goal to provide you with the tools and skills that you need to overcome anything that is thrown your way. To find out more about my show, visit our website at www.resiliencetalk.com. That's www.resiliencetalk.com. And as always, until we meet again, go for everything that you want in life and make it happen.
Good morning, this is Leticia with Computer Hospital. We are your computer repair experts for both PC and Mac. We are your community resource for all of your computer repair needs. What makes us different is that we want to fix your computer. We also do free diagnostics. We charge a flat rate labor, which means that you won't pay by the hour. All of our computer repair is done in-house with a fast turnaround time, and same-day service is also available. Feel free to stop by anytime without an appointment. We're located in Sandy at 8721 South State Street. Again, that's 8721 South State Street, or call us at 801-987-3993. Again, that's 801-987-3993. This is Leticia with Computer Hospital, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Hello there, this is Brad Neufeld with the Resilience Talk Network, and I would like to introduce to you Taffytown, one of our newest sponsors. Let me introduce you to Derek.
Hi, I'm Derek from Taffytown. We're proud sponsors of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. Taffytown is a family-owned and operated business still operating in the Salt Lake City area for over 100 years. We manufacture some of America's best saltwater taffy.
What makes Taffytown stand out from all of the others?
We have a unique recipe, a whipped-style recipe that incorporates egg whites, evaporated milk, real sea salt. It's a unique product that is flavorful, melts in your mouth, and the best part is we probably have a flavor for anyone's liking, a flavor for any reason, for any season. We have unique flavors like chicken and waffles, maple bacon, frosted cupcake. New this year was a pineapple ghost pepper flavor.
That's awesome. Where can people find out more about Taffytown and all of its products?
You can check all of this stuff out. All of our products are available for sale on taffytown.com. We ship for free from our website, so all of our pricing on there is shipping included. Oftentimes we offer special promotions and discounts to our loyal customers, so do be sure to sign up for an account. And we look forward to seeing what we can do to make you smile with our taffy.
Where are you located?
We are currently located at 9813 South Prosperity Road in West Jordan, Utah, just at the foothills of the Copper Canyon mine.
Derek, taffy has always been a great gift to give. What are some of the creative ways Taffytown can help say thank you to others?
Yeah, if you're looking for gift ideas, whether to say thank you to friends or family, or maybe to your clients after such a difficult or successful year that you've had, you could look no further than to get a gift idea from taffytown.com. We offer pre-packaged gift boxes that say that it's saltwater taffy from the city of the Great Salt Lake, and it tells a little bit about the history of our community and making candy for so long. You can also do customized gifts to pick out just the right flavors or colors of candy for that special someone and deliver even a personalized message in that box to them. So please feel free to check out taffytown.com for any gift ideas this season.
Thank you so much, Derek. Please visit taffytown.com, that's taffytown.com, to find out more about the products and services that Taffytown offers. You won't be disappointed.
Do you know someone who's gambling with death due to an addiction? Do you know someone whose life is being turned upside down due to a loved one that's battling with addiction? Hi, I'm Al Richards. I am the host of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. I started the podcast due to my wife's battle with alcohol. Let's just say I became addicted to her addiction. Our podcast is helping people understand a little more about those who have battled addiction and those who are hurting from their addiction. Through raw vulnerability, we share stories that help uncover the root causes of addiction. Shame felt on both sides, matter of the conscious and subconscious mind, continued beliefs, and often confusing paths of recovery. We collaborate with real people and their stories, as well as licensed professionals, to help our audience gain a better understanding of addiction. You can find us on Resilience Talk Network. You can also find us on Facebook at Mr. Al Richards. That's Facebook at Mr. Al Richards. You can also find us on YouTube. Just look up the Other Side of Addiction podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Other Side of Addiction. We are here with our special guest, Ronnie Hernandez. Ronnie, oh my gosh, and I think I say this after every flipping commercial break and every show. That's why I love flipping doing this. That was kick butt. I mean, really, and I'm really excited to hear where this new journey is taking you. So, the McMullins, and you said the gentleman basically held your hand all the way into the surgery. When you woke up, he's there holding your hands. For this guy, this family, to take someone that was in the position that you were in at that time in your life, to open up their arms and to show that love and that caring, which I think we talked about a little bit in the show. It might even have been before the show, how we all need someone. You know, we all need that support. And I know both Brad and I, we're big believers that when you are wanting to do good and you're wanting to make a change, as long as you're putting forth that effort, it seems like God puts the right people in your life right at the flipping time that you need them. And see, I got goosebumps already. And to me, that's what it sounded like is what was happening to you at that time.
Yep, that was the piece of it. So just to back up a little bit, it kind of with my past life, of course I got to be careful about what I say. I don't want to get into graphic detail. Yeah. And it's a blur for me. Like the time frame is a blur because when you're so messed up, you don't. The timing's off. Everything's So I kind of looking forward in this conversation to bypass all the bad stuff, and I want to get to the good stuff. So the McMullins introduced me to the church, right? But it was a group of people that we lived in Park City at the time. President Robinson, Bishop Hunt. There's a lot of very, very good people that I became acquainted with. The Stevens, Scott and Melina Stevens. Greg Bishop was a big part of it too. So I started to learn the Book of Mormon a little bit with the McMullins. They'd call me over to the house and we'd do scripture study together. Okay. Funnest thing ever. Awesome. I'm starting to catch on, Now, I'm not really knowing too much detail about, I don't know exactly what this church is yet, right? And I don't know the blessings that could come for being strict and being obedient and doing all the things that the structure behind it and stuff. I don't know about the detail on that yet, but I just know that I'm being introduced to it, right? So on the side, after meeting the McMullins and stuff like that, like on the side, I'd still drink, and if there was some cocaine, I'd do some cocaine too, Mm-hmm. Still drinking my coffee, still doing my thing, still kind of a lot of swearing going on. It's just like, okay, like I know about this church. I want it, but at this particular time, I'm not really ready to make the sacrifice of quitting my. I'm drinking. It ain't hurting nobody. I could drink. Yeah. Do a little bit of coke. I'm not doing crystal. I'm doing coke. I could do that.
Justifying it, right? You're justifying it. Yeah.
It's all good. When we have birthday parties or we go out and visit LA or whatever, we could have a drink. Nobody's going to find out. And So I was doing that. Now, that was stopping me from progressing or from climbing the big ladder that I eventually climbed, right? So I didn't know anything about the temple. I hear about it. I don't really know detail about, how to get into the temple and stuff like that. So back up a little bit. I had to wait to get baptized because I'm on probation at the time. So they're not gonna. You got to get rid of that first, and then they're gonna. People don't understand that, but I do now. I didn't understand at the time. I do now though. So I get baptized. Okay, there's that other piece now. So the McMullins, Utah, now I'm getting baptized, right?
The puzzle's getting bigger, right?
Yep, the puzzle's getting bigger. So at this time, I moved to Heber City, met some awesome folks. I met some awesome folks there. I could give you off a bunch of names, but the same kind of love here we're talking about with this church, right? And I'm starting to go to church more regularly. Starting to attend sacrament. Families coming with me. Starting to learn more, stuff like that. I'm starting to make this a habit now. Going to church on Sundays, but that's it. That's it. I go to church on Sundays, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Very little read. I'm meeting with the missionaries. Missionaries coming over. I'm feeding them. We're reading the Book of Mormon together. We're hanging out, talking, joking, whatever, right? But again, I don't know the big picture. I just know this part, the Book of Mormon, missionaries. Oh, you guys are cool. You guys are here for 2 years, whatever, right? So moved to Heber. Then we moved to Salt Lake City, to Murray, right? In Murray, when I was introduced to the Murray 23rd Ward, that's my church now. It's actually in my backyard. Can you believe it?
Oh,
So
wow.
that's probably not uncommon for Utah, but my fence is connected to the parking lot of the church.
Okay.
So when we're out looking for places to live, and I seen that, we walked to the back window to the slide, and I opened the sliding door, and boom, there's the steeple right there, the church, and I knew that that's where I'm supposed to be. So now I'm starting to get a real grasp of this. Now I want church like never before. Now I'm getting close to getting baptized. I'm meeting with the missionaries. I'm reading more scripture. I'm starting to meet more and more people that are all on my side, rooting for me 100%, right?
Yeah.
So baptism happens. I get baptized. Awesome. The lady that did my baptism was another Gail McMullen, basically, right? Sharon Canterbury was her name. So she does my baptism, loves me to death, love her, everything. All the people that have supported me that I've been introduced to, the McMullins, they all come to my baptism. Not sure if the McMullins were there, but a bunch of my support system was there, right?
Yeah.
That was huge. Huge. It's dunked in the water. I look up, and there's all my people, right, that have supported me. So I get baptized, going to church. Now, me and Anna are together, but we're not married. So basically, we're having sex outside of marriage, right?
Yeah,
We're not. So we get married in the church. Here comes all this new family that's my best friends now into the church that are there to support my marriage. We get married in the church. Weren't able to get married in the temple. That's a whole nother world. But get married in the church. Now, my support system is huge now. I got 4 or 5 different wards, churches, that the people that supported me that are here at this wedding. I get married, got a church calling as a ward missionary. It's a cool calling. It's you get assignments, you go meet with people, you help people that have fell away from the church that aren't active to try to get them active again.
Yeah.
You minister with people. It's a super cool calling. Awesome calling, right? You got a leader, ward mission leader, then you got a couple counselors, and then I think you got a secretary or something. So I'm a ward missionary, right? The guys that I served with were awesome. Starting to learn more and more and more now. Now I'm starting to move forward. Now I'm starting to consider. I'm still drinking coffee, and I'm still drinking a little bit. Now I'm starting to learn about the temple, though. I'm starting to learn that you're going to need to make some sacrifices. Now, there's a big difference here. If you got members of the church, right? You got LDS members of the church that are pretty much faithful in the church. They go to church. They love the church. They're about the church. They're born and raised in it, but they're not able to enter the temple for different reasons. It could be because you drank coffee. It could be because you're not paying tithing. It could be, but at the time I'm thinking about this, I'm like, that's stupid. What do you mean? You're not going to let us go into this place that, that you got to do all this different stuff? That's silly, right? But now that I know that I'm educated on the whole thing, and now that I go to the temple, it makes perfect sense. You got to be clean. You got to be, you got to go through what you got to go through to get there. So I was drinking coffee and stuff, right? And so now I'm to the point I've been baptized. You got to wait a year from baptism to go into the temple. So my year's up. And I'm talking to my bishop. I'm like, hey, it's been a year and stuff like that. So the way it happens is they give you an interview with the bishop, and then they give you probably know all this, you're from to Utah too, but you'll have an interview with the bishop, and then you go through your stake presidency, and they're going to ask you a series of questions. In this series of questions, they're going to ask you about the word of wisdom, which means we don't drink, smoke, drink coffee, tea, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So when it got to the word of wisdom question, do you have an understanding and do you live the word of wisdom, right? And being honest, I drink coffee. So my bishop says, like, gosh, Ronnie, I can't, we can't even go on with this interview. You got to stop drinking coffee. Wow. And I'm like, what? Coffee? What's wrong with coffee, right? And so it's just like, so, you know, it was the hardest thing for me to kick. I couldn't stop. I wanted to stop. I was hiding it. I was hiding the coffee. I couldn't stop. I stopped the drinking and alcohol, drinking and doing the other stuff. But the coffee, I couldn't stop. And I didn't understand why. So God's up here, right? You got Heavenly Father up here. You got Jesus Christ. This is the big picture up here. And then you got coffee right in the middle of it. And the coffee is a huge addiction for me, for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to, you know, face that or come to terms with that. But coffee's in the way. So what's the first thing I do in the morning? I drink coffee. What's the next thing I do in the day? I drink coffee. So I'm relying on it. It's first to me. I can't go on life without it. I can't go to work without it. I can't think without it. I can't function without it. And really, it's supposed to be God, right? So that's kind of the concept of how the word of wisdom works. So if I'm drinking coffee, it's taking my focus away from God. But I don't realize that at the time, but I'm starting to I'm starting to go through temple class. So my bishop told me stop drinking coffee. In a couple more months, I'm like, months?
Oh, geez.
A couple more months, we'll bring you back in, we'll do the interview again. So I stopped. I can't express to you the blessings I have lived and felt behind stopping drinking coffee. You know, it's not just the coffee, it's the drugs, it's the alcohol, it's everything that comes into play for getting to the temple, right?
Yeah.
So I want the temple worse than anybody in this world wants the temple. I want to be in the temple. I've learned about the temple. I've been educated on the temple. Now I'm going to temple class for 12 weeks. People are coming, the stake presidency, my bishop, everybody's in the class with me, teaching me about the temple. Now I want the temple bad, right? So I stopped I'm tithing. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. It looks like it's going to happen here. So my temple recommend finally happens. My bishop signs it. You know, me and my bishop, he's an awesome guy. He's been with me through the journey. He supported me and he's helped me strive like crazy. He married me. He's you know, he gives me this big old hug every time he sees me. He's awesome. He's a good leader, you know, and he's been there for me, and I could call him right now for any reason in the world, and he's there for me 100%. He's awesome.
That's really good.
It is. So I get my temple recommend. So now I'm going to be endowed into the temple, and at the time I know I want it, but I don't know what the blessings that this new lifestyle is going to bring me. I thought going to church, getting baptized, I got a church calling. You know, I still drink coffee on the side, but I stopped the drugs and alcohol. Stuff like that. So I think, okay, you know, I'm feeling blessing, but let me back up a little bit. I'm starting to form this relationship with God, right? And I don't know how to do it other than the way the church teaches me to do it. So the church is the navigation to me having a relationship with God.
Yeah, it's the map, basically.
It is. It's the map. Mm-hmm. It's the blue line.
Yeah.
If I do it my way without the blue line, I'm not gonna get. Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to haven't felt the Spirit. Never felt the Spirit. Never felt the Holy Ghost. Don't even know what that is. Know what it is, but haven't felt it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that what's about to happen is going to be the best feeling I've ever felt in my life. The best experience. It's what I live for now, you know? So I get endowed in the temple, and man, let me tell you, for anybody and everybody out there in the world, I wish that everybody deserves and has if you have an opportunity, if you could just feel 5 minutes of it, of what I felt in my life, and to enter that temple. It's the best thing in the world. It's the best of the best of the best. There's nothing, no roller coaster. If you gave me $1 million right now, it wouldn't equal to the feeling.
To that feeling.
So I went to the temple. I felt the Holy Ghost for the first time. And man, I freaking cried like a baby. I mean, I didn't realize what was happening. I didn't know what to expect. You know, it didn't happen the first time. It happened a couple times after, right? Because when you're a dad, you're confused about what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Like,
right.
whoa, what is this? You know, this is crazy stuff. But the temple's a reenactment of the Bible, stuff that's happened in the Bible. So the temple has very little to do with the LDS religion. It's a reenactment of the Bible and Jesus and stuff. It has a lot to do with dead people, right? So it takes a long time to even realize or understand a little bit of what happens in that temple. But if you go back to Scripture and to Revelations in the beginning of the Bible and stuff, it's all happening in the temple. It's awesome. Okay, so you know, I felt the Holy Ghost, felt the Spirit for the first time. Now I feel it all the time. Now I feel it at times that I don't even feel I deserve it. You know, I'm just hit with it. I'm just, boom, hit with it. Sometimes not only in the temple. It happens when I'm driving sometimes.
Yeah.
And I feel it, and I tell myself, and I have a talk with God, and I tell him, I love you and thank you. And it's just him hugging me and telling me that he's proud of me and he's pleased. And this is my gift to you. It's a grace for grace process, right? It's a grace for grace. So I'm giving you everything I got, and you just have to give me a little bit to keep me going. So when he just gives me that little bit of that Holy Ghost, I just keep striving and striving. I look forward to feeling it again and again and again. So that's where I'm at right now. So now when I go to the temple, I feel it almost 100% of the time. Wow. And so the temple's become a big part of my life, right? So my temple attendance is good. I'm learning. I'm going. Before Salt Lake City closed, me and my buddy went like 10 times. More than that, 20 times. But, you know, we go in there. We're in there for like 6 hours, 8 hours. And my wife's like asking her friends, how long does it take when you're in the temple?
Yeah.
We're just in there doing our thing, right? So I'm doing my temple thing, right? And my life has been blessed. Like, I met the McMullins. I did my thing. I did this. My attendance at church is good. I got my calling. I've been baptized. Then I got the Melchizedek priesthood, because you got to get the priesthood before you go into the temple. I got the Melchizedek priesthood, but I didn't know it was going to lead up to this, to the blessings, right? And my life has been blessed behind the temple. So I'm doing my temple thing. I meet this guy at a football game, right? Corey Johnson. He's my missionary companion now. Meet this guy at a football game. We're at a Murray football game. And he's sitting down, a couple bleachers down from me, and something just attracted us to each other. So we get to talking to each other or whatever. He says, hey, have you ever heard of the addiction recovery program? And I'm like, nah, what is that? He says, it's the church's AA. It's the LDS AA. You want to go to a meeting? I'm like, heck yeah, that's what I need, you know? Yeah. And so he says at first he was kind of intimidated by me. He says he didn't know what to expect. He didn't even know I was a member of the church. So he said, do you want to go to a meeting? I'm like, yes. We go to a meeting here in Murray. I fell in love with the program. Wow. So it's a AA-based, 12-step based program, but members of the church attend. You get people outside of the church, but it's mainly members of the church, right? But it's a format. It's a 12-step program, but it's based on God. It all leads back to Jesus Christ and the atonement, and it's a God-based program. So instead of an understanding of a higher power, what they call an AA, it's God. It's Heavenly Father, right? Instead of believing in something, no, it's
something greater than you. Yeah,
it's specifically, it's a God-based. So it's not only for people that struggle with addiction. It's like the guidebook to life. You know, these 12 steps. The first thing you got to do is admit that you're powerless. Anyways, so he said I started going to these meetings or whatever. He's a facilitator at the time. My buddy Corey Johnson, he's a facilitator at the time. So I remember coming in. So the way it kind of works is you got 2 active missionaries that have been set apart, sworn in, whatever. And then you got a facilitator that conducts the sharing portion of the meeting. And so Corey's a facilitator, and I'm just a participant. And I'm starting to fall in love more and more with this thing. And I'm like, you know what? I need this. This is where it's at. This is what's going to keep me clean. It's going to be the combination of everything, because I've tried everything. I've tried everything. I've tried to do this. I've tried to do that. I've tried to go to other churches. I've tried to have a relationship with God, and it never worked. So anyways, we're going to these meetings and stuff, and I remember the missionaries. I'm seeing these couples, that they're sacrificing their time. And a lot of them don't have drug addiction or addiction at all, but they're there to support, and they're there because they're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I want to do that. I want to lead this. I want to touch lives. I want to reach out and extend my hand like Elder McMullen extended his hand to me. I want to be that guy.
Paying it forward, right?
And I want to wear that badge more than anything in the world. Keep going to the temple, keep going to these meetings. And I'm like, man, what do I got to do to do that, you know? Well, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. They don't just say, oh, you want to be a missionary? Awesome, here's a badge. This is what we do. Don't work like that. It's like, I kind of would relate it to going to the temple times 2. So they really, really, really got to be sure of who you are, what you're about. There's a lot behind it. You know, the Colmers. So I get introduced to the Colmers, my mission president and his wife. Oh man, the best again, the best. The McMullens again, of Salt Lake, the McMullens of Salt Lake, right? I wish I could express to you the friends I have today, man, that I've met. Awesome people. There's no love like that in the world, you know. There's no friends out there. There's no family out there that could show me and love me and support me the way the members of the church do, and that's just a fact. So I start going to these meetings, and I'm like, I meet with the Colmers, and I'm like, it just came out of my mouth. We do firesides. Do you know what a fireside is? Mm-hmm. So we do firesides once a month, and it's all these missionaries in the addiction recovery program. Corey takes me, and I'm getting introduced to these people. I'm like, man, now I really want it. You know, these people are awesome. I meet the Colmers, and he says, these are the mission president, the coordinators of the program. You know, meet them, and I remember when I first met them, I was like, oh man, these people are awesome. I'm gonna say it. I want to say it. You know, I'm like, hey, so you know, I want to be a missionary. You know, oh, okay. You know, so it was a process. Me and Elder Colmer started talking on the phone. He's starting to know about me, and he's starting to. You got to be set apart by your bishop, by your stake president, and then you got to be kind of confirmed by the presidency, or they want to make sure. Then you got to go through a lot of training. Yeah. You got a lot of training. And then, you know, hopefully you got to put in your number, you got to apply. There's a lot to it. So anyways, I fast forward a little bit. I became a LDS missionary. I was set apart to serve a 2-year mission. At first I was in training. I was just attending meetings. I haven't got my badge yet. I'm just learning how this works and stuff. And so I'm starting to feel the mantle. I'm starting to feel the power of this calling. I'm starting to feel most people are called to serve. Now, all my missionary companions in my missions, they have been bishops, stake presidents. They've served
whole different lifestyle, right?
Yeah. They do this. They do this. And here I am, a drug addict from Long Beach that's, you know, found a way. I'm able to serve with these people side by side. And it's the best thing in the world, man. It's saved my life. The addiction recovery program is everything to me. Participants that come in, I just love them. I just, with everything I got, I hear them share their stories. So this is how it works. So we have a format that we use. We read some stuff. We introduce ourselves. Welcome to the Addiction Recovery Program, serving as your group leader. I'm Elder Hernandez, and my companion's Elder Johnson. And then we do a prayer, and then we open it up, and we do some other stuff, right? So I kind of introduce myself as the leader. Then the facilitator who's present, he has a badge too. His says LDS Family Services. He does the sharing portion of the meeting. But what it is you read these 12 steps, and we do a step, one step a week, right? So step 6, step 7. Right now we're on step 10, which is daily accountability. Let's see, daily accountability. So we'll do step 10 all week. So when you come in, the participants, we're going to study step 10, right? So let's see. So the way it works is we're on that topic, but each person shares. Okay. So you share whatever comes to mind. It kind of pertained to the step. Yeah. But you share, and man, the sharing, something about it, getting it out, putting it out there.
Yeah, it's
with
huge.
The people, it's huge, dude. Yeah. It changes lives. I mean, it's what everybody needs, you know. So you continue to take personal inventory, and when you're wrong, promptly admit it. That's step 10. Okay.
Yeah.
So think about that for a second. Continue to take personal inventory. In other words, analyze your life, what you're doing, the actions you're taking, and then when you're wrong, admit it.
Yeah.
Just think about that for a second.
Well, that's so hard for people to do.
Oh.
Though. That's why it's so
They
huge,
won't.
right?
Yeah.
And the reason why they won't is because of the fear of the judgment, right?
Yep.
I mean, if I say this, what are people going to? And fear is one of the opposition's greatest strengths, right?
Oh.
One of his greatest strengths. I mean, again, that's what I love also about doing this show, Ronnie, is people being vulnerable and opening up. And it's helped me even open up with a lot what's happened in my life and things that's gone on with my wife's addiction. So yeah, that is huge.
Yep. Daily accountability.
Yeah.
That's just
Yep.
one step, you know?
Yeah,
So,
just one.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I hear these participants, as a religion, as a group of people, a lot of the people struggle with pornography. Mm-hmm. And you think, what's the big deal? Watch porn, some people think I do it, but it doesn't mess me up in the head or whatever. But it does, though. It's a sickening addiction, dude. It causes families to be ripped apart by just that.
It's any addiction. Yeah.
Yeah. Pornography. I watched it firsthand, time and time again, rip families apart, just because the husband can't stop watching porn.
Yeah.
It's the devil, dude. It's out there to get you, and it's one of those things. It's a perfect tool for him to maneuver his way into your life and distract you and to get you concentrated on that. And these guys, what they do, they hide it, and they do it to the part where their wife finds out and they're going to leave you, and you're trying to get help to the point where you can't even have a cell phone anymore because it's a couple buttons away. I see it happen a lot. So not to talk bad about anybody or anything, but it's an addiction and it's bad.
Oh yeah.
You got prescription pain pills is a bad one, right?
It's huge. It's huge.
Dude, it's
The thing that gets me upset with that one, Ronnie, is how many people think it's okay because it was prescribed by a doctor.
Yeah.
And it's
one of those things, right? Yeah. Take Motrin 800.
we had a gentleman on our show a couple weeks ago, Robert Scott Bell, and he does a show here in Salt Lake. It's been going on for 20 years. And he talks a lot about health, natural stuff.
Yeah.
None of his kids have ever even taken any type of pill, ever. And it's just how he's changed his life, the way he eats. And he talks a lot about that on his show. If you ever get a chance, check out the Robert Scott Bell show.
Okay, Robert Scott Bell.
His stuff is really, really good. And it's amazing. When he was on the show, I mean, we were talking about the Native Americans. I mean, back in the days, you just didn't pick up a phone or, went to the doctors and they called in a prescription for you and you ran down to your local general store and picked up a prescription. I mean, stuff that they were illed by was either from plant or herbs or a root or whatever it may be. And it's God's medicine. Yeah. Everything that's been put on this earth has been put here for us, right? Yeah. And it's a shame that a lot
of people feel that way about marijuana, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is a God's thing, and I smoked my
Share.
plenty bunful of marijuana. Yeah, it was.
Don't try this stuff nowadays.
On the way to work and at lunch, and then on the way back into work, and then on the way at home, and then more at home.
On your way into the restaurant. That's a good one, right?
Restaurant. Yeah, we had a 3-foot bong that we used to load that thing up quite a bit and do a couple power hits before. Yeah. Well, you love to take some hits before you went to a restaurant because then you could eat
everything. Food tastes good on that.
The food tastes really good. Yeah, I still say it tastes better in the mountains than it did on that, but still. So, I mean, I love this flipping journey that your life has been on, Ronnie. I mean, if you go back and look at where your life is now. And I've had people ask me this question when I've been guests on podcasts. Would you have ever thought 15 years ago that your life would be, I mean, you're talking, as we were talking on the show, it's like walking into a room and it's pitch black and you don't know where you're going and you're bumping into crap all the time, and all you want to do is find the light switch, and then finally finding the light switch and going, oh my hell, this room's full of gold. You know, I didn't even realize you were bumping into gold, right?
Good analogy, yeah.
Yeah, I
Something
mean,
like that.
we had a gentleman on our show that was talking about, matter of fact, it was Curtis, talking about his backpack. His backpack was full of rocks. Now his backpack is full of gold. You know, and he's handing that gold out.
Yeah.
You know, to now you're out there helping individuals.
Yeah.
And you know what the fight is because you've gone, you've been in the ring.
Yep.
You know, you've thrown a lot of punches. And I just love sharing this, and I hope our audience doesn't get sick of hearing it, but I really love sharing this. We had a gal on our show out of Arizona. Her name's Jennifer Seitzer. She's 19 years clean. She has a son that's still battling addiction. And she fears, like a lot of us fear as parents or spouses, that you're going to get that phone call one day and they're going to be, hey, we're sorry to tell you this, but your loved one has passed or overdosed or whatever it may be. And she had someone tell her in her church, a lady that she talks with, and she goes, there are those that their battle is way too strong for them, and they've done what they can, but they just don't have the strength to get through it. Yeah. So God calls them back home. He's like, okay, I'm going to take this pain away from you. We're going to call, you're coming back home. Yeah. There are ones like yourself and like so many of our other guests who have walked that walk, and now they are in a place where they're helping others. And this lady told our friend Jennifer, she goes, those are God's angels. Yeah. He's picked that person to be his angel to go out now and start helping people. Other people
to the light
and help them understand, you know. And when she said that, it brought so many thoughts to my mind. You know, I wouldn't be doing this show if it wasn't for my wife's addiction. And my wife, she did not want me to do this show. She despised it. She basically thought I was coming in this show and just talking crap about her the whole time. Then she came into the studio one day and she watched a show. And on the way home, she goes, I get emotional talking about it. She goes, don't you stop. Do not stop. And she goes, oh, and by the way, I get all the credit. You know, in a way she does. Yeah. Because again, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for her. And to be able to get a message out, have somebody like yourself to open up and be vulnerable and go, hey man, this is who I was. I wasn't a good person. I was a menace to society. I did this, I did that. Some things you can't share. And now to be where you're at right now, to me, that's flipping huge.
It is, man. It is. I give, you know, of course, it took God, you know. It would have taken of God to, you know, restore my sanity and stuff like that. There's no other way. There is no other way. You know, today I, like you said, and I'm sure you feel the same. I love to help people. You know, I love to have an impact, to share my story and to let people know that there is chance there. Mm-hmm. There is chance to change. A lot of times people just like when you're in addiction, there's no way out. You know, you can't stop. You keep doing this, and the years are going by, and your kids have been gone. People get their kids taken. It happened to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
People get their kids taken. Now the kid's 20 years old, you know, and you haven't done nothing the whole time, and it's just over, you know.
Time is something you can't get back.
And that's another reason to keep getting high. And so the only way it's going to work is through God, you know. To get an understanding of Jesus Christ and the way the crucifixion happened, the atonement, how that all, the reason behind that. And the blessings that come with the commandments. The commandments are huge. You got to live the commandments, you know. They're not there to make you mad or to steer you away. They're the rules. They're the way to a happy life. You know?
Yeah, they're the menu. It's
It
the
is.
menu,
It is.
right?
It's the menu to a happy
Yeah.
life. So,
Yeah.
I'm so thankful, man. I'm so every day I open my eyes, I'm like, gosh, I did it. I'm clean. Days are going by, and I'm clean and sober off drugs and alcohol and coffee and
Yeah, and
everything
coffee,
else, and
yeah.
pornography, right?
Yeah.
And it's a great feeling, and I get blessed and I get thanked by God when I feel the Spirit, and that's the best feeling in the world. It's better than a drink. It's a substitute,
Yeah.
I gave up the coffee, I gave up the drugs, and now I get this, and
It's a different high.
It is.
We had a
It's-
gentleman by the name of Corey on our show, and basically that's what he said.
Really?
He's taken all those years of getting high on drugs and alcohol and everything else, and now his new high is helping other people. It's the new drug. He says,
Yeah.
that's my new drug.
Yeah.
And he says, and it's better than any high I ever got before.
Yeah.
Plus you don't wake up feeling like crap.
Oh,
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that now. But
Yeah.
now I got a phone full of the best people in the world, friends that love me. I love them. And I got so many people that it's hard to juggle everybody at the same time now. It's like, that just, not money. It's just a hand, it's advice. And who am I to give advice? Well, now I'm able to give advice to people, and I'm able to help people get sobriety, and I've done it a lot of times, and that's the high right there,
Good for you.
Helping people. So
I love it.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, do you have something you'd like to share with our audience?
Oh man,
Maybe a word of, I don't know, I don't know if advice is a good thing, but a positive vibe.
For sure. I stand strong and tall for what I believe in, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has saved my life in so many different ways. Building a relationship, as I said earlier, building a relationship with God, and to get out of the environment that you're getting high in. If you're getting high and you feel that there's no way out, there is a way out. I came to Utah. I got the recipe. It's Utah, the church, God, sobriety. That's what it is. But you gotta tie it all in together. You can't just do one. You got to do all of it. And there's a lot that comes along. It's going to take some hard work. You're not going to be in your comfort zone. You're going to think it's crazy at first, but you got to do it. My heart goes out to the people out there suffering on drugs and alcohol. It's a vicious thing, man. It's so bad. And now they got fentanyl going around and stuff like that, and the drugs aren't even really the real drugs anymore because it's substituted with so many different chemicals, and that has a whole different impact on you. But if you want your family back, and you want sobriety, you want peace, and you want happiness, get out of the environment that you're getting in trouble in, and get sobriety and get a relationship with God. God is everything.
I love it. It's really good advice. Ronnie, thank you again for taking time out of your day to be with us here today. And
thanks for having me.
Thank you for looking over. I think you and I locked eyes at the same time, and
We did.
It wasn't like a bromance or anything, but
No.
we kind of locked eyes at the
It was
same
all
time.
meant to be, right?
You were over in one booth, and I was
I
over
know.
another, and it was kind of like that.
Yep,
that
100%.
pole. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
You
meant to
come
be.
over and started chatting,
Yep.
and when I told
that
you
was
what
cool.
we did, and you were
Yeah.
sharing a little bit what you did, it's like,
Yeah.
well, this
Hey, we're
happened
friends for life now,
This happened
man.
for a reason, right?
Yeah, we're friends for life.
Yeah,
man.
it happened
Yeah.
for a reason. So, guys, again, thank you for all your support. Thanks to all our listeners, our many, many, many sponsors, to Resilience Talk Network, Brad Neufeld, all our guests co-hosts. Guys, again, I say this at the end of every show, and I'll continue to say it. This wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you and all your love and support. So thank you. Good to end the shows we do every single time. Remember, addiction is giving up everything for one thing, and recovery is giving up one thing for everything. We're out.